Imagine standing at the edge of a glacier that hasn't been crossed in over 60 years. Today, we're diving into two extraordinary expeditions from the 1920s that pushed the boundaries of human exploration and inadvertently documented early signs of climate change.
Wow, that's quite the opening. So we're talking about some serious adventure here. What exactly were these expeditions?
Well, we're looking at two fascinating journeys. First, there's Lieutenant Colonel Reginald Schomburgk's exploration of the Urta-Sarik Valley in 1928, and then Hugh Rutledge's attempt to cross Trails Pass in the Himalayas in 1925. Both of these expeditions give us great insights into not just the physical challenges of exploration, but also the changing landscapes of these remote regions.
That's interesting. Can you tell us more about Schomburgk's journey through the Urta-Sarik Valley? What made it so remarkable?
So, the Urta-Sarik Valley is this incredible 75-mile stretch that Schomburgk described as essentially two different worlds in one. The lower half is dramatic and precipitous, with steep cliffs and rushing water so powerful that no laden ponies could cross. But then, as you move up the valley, it transforms into this stark, almost lunar landscape. It's like nature decided to showcase two completely different environments in one place.
That's fascinating. Did Schomburgk mention anything about the flora or fauna in the valley?
Oh, absolutely. He painted this vivid picture of the landscape. Imagine walking through miles of blue aconite flowers carpeting the riverside, and these massive white gentians towering above. He even described purple primulas with stems 2 feet long. That's taller than some children. But what's really interesting is how he noted the flower season in the Tian Shan is much shorter than in the Himalaya, which tells us something about the harsh conditions there.
Well, that's quite the botanical wonderland. Did he encounter any challenges during his expedition?
You know he did. The weather was particularly challenging. Schomburgk reported heavy rain for 5 to 6 hours every afternoon in July 1928, but only in the upper valley. It's a perfect example of how microclimates can exist within these mountain systems. And let's not forget, this was long before modern weather forecasting technology. These explorers were really at the mercy of the elements.
That must have made things pretty difficult. Now, what about this other expedition? Rutledge's attempt to cross Trails Pass. That sounds like it might have been even more challenging.
Oh, you're right about that. Rutledge's expedition in 1925 was attempting to cross a pass that hadn't been traversed since 1861. Just imagine trying to use 64-year-old information to navigate a glacier that had significantly retreated. It's like trying to use a map from the 1960s to navigate modern-day New York City. Things change, you know.
That's a great analogy. So how did they even begin to tackle such a challenge?
Well, it was a great team that made it possible. There was Brigadier Wilson, Major Carfrae, Rutledge and his wife, 2 experienced Johar Bhotias, and various local porters. Each brought different skills and perspectives to the challenge. But here's where it gets really interesting. The local Danpuria hillman warned them that the pass had become impassable due to glacier retreat. It's like an early warning system about climate change that nobody recognized at the time.
Oh, that's a fascinating point. It really shows how these expeditions were capturing environmental changes long before we had the context to understand them. Did they encounter any other unexpected challenges?
Absolutely. One of the most striking moments was when they encountered this 800-foot rock face. It wasn't just steep. It was actively dangerous, with loose rock and constant falling stones. Even modern climbers with all their advanced equipment, would find it challenging. And then there were the massive ice formations and crevasses they had to navigate around. It really shows the complexity of high-altitude expedition planning.
That sounds incredibly dangerous. How did they manage to deal with all these obstacles?
Well, that's where the real skill of expedition leadership comes in. They had to constantly adapt their plans. When Carfrae became ill at altitude and most of the porters lost their nerve due to superstitions about the mountain, they had to completely reorganize their expedition. They divided their resources, created contingency plans. It shows remarkable flexibility and leadership in the face of extreme challenges.
So, did they actually manage to cross the pass in the end?
Interestingly, no. They didn't make it in 1925. But Rutledge's account becomes almost prophetic. He warns about how the retreat of the glacier had cut off access to certain areas and how crevasse systems might join in the future. It's like he's reaching across time to warn future climbers about the evolving challenges they might face due to climate change.
That's really powerful. It seems like these expeditions were about so much more than just reaching new places.
Exactly. These weren't just adventures. They were contributions to human knowledge that continued to inform and inspire us today. They show us how exploration, when done thoughtfully and respectfully, can contribute to our understanding of both the natural world and human capabilities.
So what do you think are the main takeaways from these expeditions for us today?
Well, I think there are several key lessons. First, the importance of respecting local knowledge. Those warnings from the Danpuria hillmen were spot on. Second, knowing when to turn back. Sometimes the mountain decides when you can and cannot pass. And finally, understanding that these mountain environments are not just challenges to be conquered, but complex systems that deserve our respect and careful study.
Those are some great insights. It really puts our modern adventures into perspective, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And, as we wrap up, I think it's worth considering how these historical accounts serve as invaluable records of environments that have likely changed dramatically over the past century. They capture a moment in time that we can never get back, but that can inform our understanding of how these landscapes are evolving due to climate change.
That's a sobering thought. It really underscores the importance of continued exploration and documentation, doesn't it?
You're right on the money there. These early 20th century expeditions laid the groundwork for our modern understanding of these remote regions. And as we face unprecedented environmental changes, the careful observations and meticulous documentation demonstrated by explorers like Schomburg and Rutledge are more important than ever. Their legacy reminds us that exploration isn't just about personal achievement. It's about contributing to our collective knowledge and understanding of our planet.